Welcome to this week's episode of The Caesha Show.
You mean the Dani and Caesha Show. Let me show you how it's done. Welcome to this week's episode of The Dani Show.
But you just said The Dani and Caesha Show.
Well, I meant The Dani Show.
No, Caesha Show.
Dani Show.
No, it's The Caesha Show.
Let's show Dani and Caesha.
Okay. Well, welcome to this week's episode of The Dani and Caesha Show, and we have tons of stuff for you.
Tons.
We have a cooking channel,
A chinchilla channel.
a karaoke channel,
A dancing channel.
and a how-to channel.
And so many more coming soon.
We also have tons of commercials.
Tons of commercials.
So anyway, welcome to this week's episode of The Dani and Caesha Show.
Oh, yeah. Hey, are those sugar-coated mini donuts?
Yeah.
Where'd you get those?
7-Eleven. Only $1.99 for 8 of them.
What? I just paid $6.99 for a same amount at the fair.
I know. Fairs rip you off.
They do.
7-Eleven does not want to rip you off.
No.
And guess what? They're sugar-coated and
So delicious. You know what they'd be good with?
what?
7-Eleven hot chocolate and coffee.
With French vanilla cream.
And caramel sauce.
Oh. God, they're so delicious.
My donuts!
Hey!
They're mine! Too bad! Hey Caesha, what page are you on? Page 24. Isn't that thing when that thing happens to a person?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
I
I've
know.
read this book like a billion
I
times.
know. Caesha, did you ever have me read it?
Yeah.
Guess what? What's it?
What?
What? I sold some donuts for a redhead girl. They're from 7-Eleven. They're only $1.99.
$1.99?
$1.
Can I have some?
Fine. Hey everybody! As you know, you're watching the Dani and Caesha Show, and for this week's episode, we have a cooking show. But first we want to just tell you about a little bit of kitchen safety. First, you don't want to wear daintily sleeves or clothes you don't want to get dirty. You should always wear an apron and oven mitts when you're using the oven. Wear a short sleeve shirt like this, and you don't mind getting dirty. Also, if you have long hair like me, you probably want to tie it up so first of all, your hair doesn't catch on fire from the stove, and so it doesn't dent in all the food. You just tie it up in a ponytail, bun, whatever. And when you see people at the grocery store, that's why they wear hairnets, so that they don't get their hair in the food, and so that it doesn't catch on fire. Which sounds funny, but it is true. People actually have gotten their hair on fire. Okay then, let me just finish my ponytail, and then on to Caesha. Okay, Caesha will tell you what we're going to do, and what the ingredients we're using.
Okay, so today we're going to make brownies. Now, the ingredients you will need is butter or margarine, cocoa, brown sugar firmly packed, 2 eggs, some vanilla, some all-purpose flour, and some salt. And the utensils you will need is a pan, a mixing bowl, measuring cups, measuring spoons, and a stirring utensil, and of course, your oven. The first step is to heat the oven to 180 degrees or 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
And for my oven, you press bake here until you get to what you want, which is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I say set. Well, it already sets automatically, whoops. And when this preheat light turns off, and only the oven light remains, then I know the oven is preheated.
And before you do anything else, make sure you wash your hands. You don't want any germs in your food. Okay, So our second step is to grease our pan. Now you can use either butter or any other kind of grease spray you have.
For butter, you just take a little bit. You don't need too much. And you just stick it here. Get the bottom and all around the sides. Remember, you don't need too much. Just a little bit so like your food doesn't stick to the pan.
And if you have a grease spray, just spray it evenly through the whole pan.
It's easier to use grease spray, but butter's good too.
Okay, now our third step is to melt butter or margarine, half a cup, in a saucepan.
We already got ours prepared for you. It's right here. We have a wooden spoon and half a cup right here. On my oven, it says the right front, and I'm just going to turn on to a low setting for... Alright, oops. Sorry, it's a new oven for us all. To about 2 or 3-ish. So I'm just going to do right there. Now, it's just heating up. Wait until that is at your windows. And as you can see, the butter's already starting to melt. From a thin chunk. It's all getting down there.
Now, as soon as your butter is finished melting, turn off the stove and remove it from the heat.
You can put it on one of these ones. I forget what they're called, but still. They make sure that it doesn't burn through onto your nice table or counter.
And then pour it into your mixing bowl.
Now put it back here, cool, so that it still doesn't burn. Because remember, the pan is still hot.
Now, our fourth step is to add half a cup of cocoa to your bowl with melted butter. Then you also add 1 full cup of brown sugar, evenly packed. And stir it in until it is completely mixed. It should be a brown paste.
I've just finished stirring. So once you have it into your chocolatey paste, you need to... Caesha?
You need to crack 2 eggs, 1 egg at a time, and keep stirring after you crack each egg.
I like to crack mine on the side of the bowl, but you can also crack yours with a fork. Caesha, could you please stop stirring? And then I just simply kind of prise the shell open, depending on what egg it is. That was quite hard, right? And then Caesha will stir it in. And I'm putting the eggshells there so I can put them out in compost, or you can smash them in your plants. It's a better way of throwing them out, instead of throwing them out. So that you're very environmentally friendly. So once they're all stirred in,
then it should be a nice chocolatey, thicker paste.
just slightly thicker, moisture-ish.
Now, as soon as your paste is completely stirred, you can move on to the 6th step. The sixth step is to add half a teaspoon of vanilla.
When you're adding your vanilla, do it over the sink or a measuring cup you aren't using anymore. We're using our half measuring cup because we won't be using that again. Just in case it leaks over the bowl and then you get too much vanilla. Then stir it in.
Now, moving on to step 7, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup all-purpose flour and a half a teaspoon salt. Now make sure you stir it very well so that it all is mixed in perfectly. See, make sure you pour your salt over an extra bowl, because if that had landed in our brownies, they wouldn't taste very good.
And then we'd have to restart the batter. Remember to mix in your flour well. You don't want it to look like this. You want it to look like... It should look like this.
So, moving on to step 8, since the brownie mix is just a little thick, add about 1/4 cup of milk.
And then you just stir it in.
Now, for step 9, take your batter and pour it evenly into your greased pan. Now you can use a spatula or any other kind of utensil to scoop it out and flatten it into your pan. Now finally, step 10, as soon as your pan is completely evened out, put it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit using your oven mitts. You always want to be safe, for about 15 to 20 minutes. And don't bake it any longer or they'll be too crisp.
Just put it in the pan. Close up the door. Now this is when you can take off your oven mitt. And for mine, you set the timer here, and then you put how many minutes you want. We're going to do ours for 15. If it doesn't look ready, we're going to put it in for 5 more minutes.